Alright, story time. Okay, so before I go on with this video, I just need to let you know this is a video response to Ed's video, What does Gundam mean to you? And these videos have been pretty lengthy from a lot of people. I've been watching everybody's video responses, and this is one of those kind of video responses that it's gonna have to be really long and hard. So I'm gonna let you know right now, if you're just gonna like have something negative to say or anything like that, just don't watch this video. The title's up there. Don't even bother watching the rest of this video after this. You probably clicked it to see what it's about, but if you don't even care, then just piece it right now and just don't watch, because this is going to be a really long video and I got a lot to say, because these videos have a lot of meaning to it. Or yeah, the everything that people had to say about these videos had a lot of meaning to say, have a lot of meaning in it, and I'm sure a lot of people have things to say, and you guys know how I like to talk, so this is going to be one of my opportunities to really bore you guys with all the shit I gotta say to you. So Gundam to me is a whole lot of things. Like it's I can't, if you were to ask me to sum it down to one word or one thing, I won't be able to do that, because Gundam, as far as I'm concerned, has been a part of my life, with different levels of it, in different places. Sometimes it's been in my life when I didn't want it to be. Sometimes it was there when I try to like just block it out because I had priorities, and sometimes it was there when I really needed it. When it was there when I least expected it to be, and it's there in people too. Like when you go around places, of course, if basically Gundam, one of the words that I would like to describe what Gundam is to me is Gundam's a lifestyle. Not only is it a lifestyle, but I think like I said, it's a whole lot of things. Like it's obviously a hobby, but it's also a passion. It's art. It's, like I said, a lifestyle, and it's dedication. It's a whole lot of things. I just can't like pinpoint it to one thing, or maybe I can after I keep on talking. But I just can't. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint it to one thing. Gundam is a whole lot of things. For me, at least, it's a whole lot of things, because it's just been there for various reasons, like I just said. But before I go on with what Gundam means to me, I guess I should share my story. And a lot of you know my story. Maybe not a lot of you, but some of you already know my story. I was exposed to Gundam, at a very young age. Uh, actually, unlike a lot of people here in America, where we were exposed to Gundam through Gundam Wing when it aired on Toonami, I actually knew about Gundam beforehand, and it wasn't even because I was looking for it or anything like that. It was just by chance. I was in the Philippines, okay? I learned about Gundam in the Philippines. In my time in the Philippines, I was like 11 years old. I was gonna say 11 o'clock. Uh, um, but I was like 11 years old, and we were there for, I don't know, like a month or two. I can't remember, but it was one of those things where, oh yay, Philippines, back to the homeland. But I was just like really just too young to really care what I was doing out there. I just knew that I was on vacation. Ooh, summertime, swimming, checking out the homeland, meeting relatives, meeting people, right, eating food, right. But I didn't. It never occurred to me that I would actually like discover something that would really be a huge impact on my life, and of course that's Gundam. Um, some like some of you guys know the story already, but I'll repeat it for this video's sake. I was just flipping through channels because I was bored. I don't think there was any plans for that day, so I was just flipping through channels. It was hot as hell, um, and I came across a Filipino or Tagalog dubbed um, G Gundam. There was Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and it was. I remember this very clearly. It was the episode. I can't remember the dude's name, but it was the guy that was on drugs. He kept popping pills. The mobile suit with the rifle, and he would like use the fog to cheat or whatever. I remember this episode very clearly. So every time I come across this episode when I watch it like now or whatever, I'm like, oh damn, this is the episode, the first episode of Gundam I've ever seen. One of the, not probably the most epic ways to get into Gundam, but it was cool. Well, I guess it was epic because of the shining finger. Well, I said finger because in Philippines, or in when if you're Filipino, we switch letters around. So like F's are P's and P's are F's, and so shining finger. But anyway, I just thought it was cool, you know, like hand in your face, and then he kills the Gundam or whatever the hell it was. It was like it was cool, like it was really cool, and that was the last of it. And then it was like a couple days later. I guess the folks and like everybody decided to go to the SM Mega Mall, and I was curious because you know I'm an 11-year-old boy, and I was into Pokemon at the time and Dragon Ball and all that. So the only thing on my mind was looking for the toys and the cards and all that stuff, right? And I was begging my mom to buy me a deck, the water deck, the first water deck I think it was with Gyarados as the you know the special holofoil card or whatever. Uh, and she wouldn't buy it, of course, because what was 2,000 pesos? I think it was like $10. I can't remember, um, but yeah, and we just kept looking around, and then I came across I can't remember what it was called, man, but it was this big toy store, and there was a sec, and I was looking around, you know, I was like, this and that, I know what this is. Ooh, Transformers, that's cool. And then I came across a an aisle or a few aisles actually. It's a section in this toy area dedicated to Gundam models. It was stacks and shelves of Gundam models, and they're even on display. And it was cool because the way they were displayed was I don't know if that's how it is now, but when I first seen it, it was like a shelf, right? And they were just like full of Gundams just standing there, and they were displayed with empty sprues as like the gates to protect instead of like clear, you know, like little window that you could look through. It was just displayed. It was displayed and then protected with the you know the empty parts plates and stuff like that. And that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, this is cool. And of course, for some reason, the one that I was really attracted to were the Endless Waltz model kits, because they looked pretty good. Like what robot had angel wings and what robot had devil wings with a scythe, you know, and you know, it just all of them appealed to me like right away. And of course, I didn't know that it was going to be airing in America soon after I got back home. But yeah, so I seen that and I didn't know what to do with it. Like I saw the boxes, but I was like, so what is this? Like I don't know if they were toys, I don't know if they're model kits. I just knew that they were Gundams. I knew that they were Gundams because that's what I saw on TV and because that's what I read in the boxes. I didn't know, I had no idea that there was more than just the one that I seen with the burning hand. Um, but yeah, I just thought that the Endless World Gundams were really cool. I didn't get any, of course, because I didn't know what the hell I was dealing with, um, or let alone I was clueless about what was going on. So a couple days later, go to like a public market or like flea market type of thing, and I seen the box. I remembered the box art for the high grade 1 to 100 Wing Zero custom, and then I seen it at the market, but I didn't know it was a damn bootleg. But I asked my mom to buy it because it was like dirt cheap, compared to like what I saw at the mall. And yeah, so she bought it, and then when I got back home and I opened it up, I was kind of shocked. But at the same time, I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing really, but I built it. I forgot how I managed to build it. I forgot how I managed to build it. I don't remember if I like I've built a model kit before. It was like a car model kit. And I remember that you did have to cut things out with a knife, or I don't remember how I built it, but I was able to build it. But it then I noticed that it wasn't exactly what was on the box art, and then that's when I realized I bought a counterfeit. I bought a fucking knockoff. Um, because it was a Wing Zero Customs box art, high grade 1 to 100 Wing Zero Customs box art, but instead of, you know how it's blue, it's like red. And then it was weird because on the sides it was just different. And then when I put the kit together, it was the 1 to 144 scale Wing Zero TV version, but it was mostly in red and a shitload of stickers. And then that's when that, you know, that like I said, that's when I realized my first model Gundam model kit was a damn fake. So that was the best way to really get into the model kits. But that was the first experience I've had, and then you know later on Gundam Wing came up, and I think from there it was pretty much just like every other person story. You watch Gundam Wing, you find the model kits, and it was I'm skipping a whole lot of details here, but it was like my new toys. It was like my new toys. Like I've always loved building. At first, I was into the Power Rangers, Zords, and stuff like putting them together, taking them apart, and stuff like that. Not necessarily in the model kit way, but just being able to assemble something and you get like a giant robot, right? Whole different level here. Like Legos, I love Legos. But yeah, whole different level here now with the Gundam model kits, and then with Gundam Wing coming out and everything. Um, so like I got into that. I was in middle school, got into that. My friends were in it. My neighbors at the time who they were gone after middle school. They left. They moved to Vegas. His friends also were into it, and I was like, wow, I'm stepping into a whole new world. It's awesome, right? And like in middle school, yeah, my friends would like they would want to see like the manuals because sometimes I'd bring the manuals. I don't remember if I ever brought the model kits, but I do remember bringing Wing Zero Customs, high grade 1 to 100 Wing Zero Customs rifle around just because it was cool. Like everyone knew what the twin buster rifle was and what it could do, so it was like the coolest thing ever. So I will bring that around, and I would also bring the Wing Zero manual around and everything. Um, but like it got to a point where I pretty much had all the Wing and Endless Waltz high grades. Like my sister was into it too, and my mom would buy them for us. And this is of course the time Toys R Us had them too, and Target and like retail stores and other stuff like that. So it was pretty big. It was a pretty awesome time. And around this time too, we met a new family, um, like cousins, I guess, my mom's cousins and things like that, and my uncle from that side. Um, I guess to get to know me more and everything, like he would take me and his son, my cousin. We would just go out and do things like we would go to Six Flags, we would go to we would like go to arcades and stuff like that, just hang out and things. And then he eventually learned that I was really sorry, it's the wife just got engaged. I'm kidding, maybe. So yeah, my uncle would take us out and everything, and he eventually found out about my love for Gundam model kits, and he knew about these things. Like he knew that there were these shops, these random shops, and he would take me to them, and it was interesting. It's like he knew about Gundam model kits before, even before I did. Maybe he was into it himself, but I never really asked him. I never really knew. He knew about model kits. He would build model kits, but I don't know if he specifically knew about Gundam model kits, but he knew where to find them. And he would take me to these places and he would buy them for me. And thanks to him, thanks to my mom mostly, but thanks to him too, um, and pretty much, yeah, my mom, my uncle, and like my household and everyone, they respected that I like to build these things. So it felt awesome knowing that you had support. It wasn't like they were like, oh, stop playing with these toys, blah blah blah. They knew I built these things. They knew I spent time building these things. My mom especially appreciated that I moved on from playing video games all the time to wanting to build these model kits, and she would rather buy me these model kits than buying some video games, and I would be stuck to the TV or whatever, right? So she liked it. She loved it, and I felt like that was one of the biggest supports. My mom and my uncle were the big supporters of me and the hobby. But anyway, I th thanks to my uncle, he got me the harder ones to find. Like everyone wanted Ultron, high grade Ultron. Everyone wanted Death Scythe Hell, the 1/100s, of course. Um, Everyone wanted Epion. Everyone wanted Wing Zero. He knew where to go. He helped me find those four, and thanks to him, I was able to pretty much have the best collection ever, right? Um, and a couple years ago, yeah, a couple years, and yeah, I'll skipping time here. Actually, no, I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. I'm like you'll see why I'm so baffled in just a second. But like, um, a few years later, grew up, eventually went to high school, of course I went to high school. Eventually went to high school, and then I just stopped building the other model kits because I thought that it was in my mindset, like my mindset, I went from like nerd to like trying to blend in, trying to be a part of the crowd kind of thing. So I just never, like, it died down to me. Like after Wing Gundam and after all the OVAs, I didn't know that Seed was airing, and even if it did, it was like in the middle of the night, and I was either not at home or I was already asleep because I wanted to go to school the next day. So I just never had time for it anymore, and it disappeared. It died out. Got through high school without knowing that Gundam even existed. I knew that, well, I knew that it was, but I didn't know it existed in the same way that it did back then when Gundam Wing. I don't think it had the same impact anymore. So I just kind of like lost interest, and I got back into gaming and got back into like going out. Oh, I got back into it, but got back into gaming, hang out with friends, going out to the city, blah blah blah. Your, typical high school thing. Um, and then got back into it out of high school because like I had the money, and friends and I just start hanging out at places like San Francisco, Japantown, and everything. And then I discovered Double O, which is why Double O holds a very special place in my heart, because not only do I think the series is pretty awesome in the idea of understanding and change and stuff like that. There's some really cool ideas, and I'm really, and that really those ideas really grip me. So yeah, I got back into the kids, and couple, I guess, here's a couple years ago, my uncle, the same uncle who helped me, get the 4 Gundams, and just Uncle Nick, he passed away, and after that, it was just hard on a lot of us, because he was like one of the most awesome uncles ever, and even though I didn't know him my whole life, he really is like important to me, um, because of the time that we spent, and just because of the time we spent and the memories that he gave me and like the rest of my family and everything like that. It was uh, it was hard losing him. Like my aunts, it was really hard for her because of course they're married and all that. It was just bad, and I felt that I felt that if I keep building Gundams, if I keep if I keep this hobby, then that's the one and the number one way I could honor his memory, because, like I said, he he helped me and he supported me in my early modeling endeavors. He was the one that introduced me to paint. Um, he was the one that told me that I could paint these things, and he encouraged that I paint them. So, um, he's special, and I love him always for that. So even even when I wanted to even when I wanted to like just leave from the hobby, because that's all I saw it as a hobby. Even if I wanted to leave it, the whole time I was gone from YouTube, I didn't want to do the hobby anymore, and I wanted to give up YouTube. But because of my uncle's memories and everything, I can't. And I'm happy that he was able to do that for me. Um, and ever since then, Gundam has been more than just a hobby. It has been more than just art and a passion to me. It's meaning. Um, Gundam's meaning to me is a lot more deeper than and more sentimental than just a hobby. So that's why it's a whole lot to me. Nowadays, or lately at least, it's I've been through a whole lot of things, transitioning here and there, and you guys know all the times I've been gone from YouTube, and like I said, there were times where I thought of just dropping the whole thing on YouTube and just dropping the hobby because I didn't have a lot of opportunities to mess around with it, right? So, and this is the part where it happens, where it's like when you want to block it out, when you want to get rid of it, it's just still there no matter what. Um, there was a time that Meads, you guys all know Meads, he hit me up and he said he'd be around. He wanted to come over and have a hangout He wanted to come over on my side of the bridge because he lives in Daly City, which is across the bridge. So I live in Richmond. You got to cross the bridge to get to San Francisco and Daly City. So he lives on the other side. And he decides to take BART, which is a form of local transportation. It's like a commuting train, basically, subway system kind of thing. If you're from Canada, you know, it's like a sky train. If you're from the East Coast, it's like, you know, the subways. So he took that over here, picked him up, and the plan was to go to Boss Robot Hobby, have lunch, hang out in Berkeley, and, you know, just hang out. And this has had to be one of the most randomest, but also best days ever, because I pick him up, and we're like, all right, let's go to Boss Robot and then have lunch, because we still had time, and I think Boss Robot was just opening. He decides he bring his camera because I guess he was doing a video vlog type of thing for this hangout, which is a cool idea, and I like that he still does that. It's one of the coolest. It's like we have a lot of fun doing it, so might as well document it. So we go to Boss Robot Hobby, and we're just snooping around and everything, and I'm sorry, dude. This is no offense or anything. I didn't think you were weird, but while I was snooping around, this voice, sort of deep voice, deeper, you know, sort of deep voice, from the side of my ear goes, "Hey, are you versus Z?" And I'm just like, yeah. So in my head, I'm like, what the hell, right? Because this has happened a couple times. Well, yeah, a couple times at Fanime, and then one time at WonderCon. Yeah, it was Pobs. Pobs the Biz. Like I said, no offense, dude, but it was just awkward for me, knowing that some random person knows my YouTube name, and I'm just like, what? So yeah, we meet Pobs there, and from there we like, I don't remember if I bought anything, but from there we met, we hung out. I pretty much kidnapped him because he walked from UC Berkeley to Boss Robot Hobby, and I had the car, so we went back towards the UC Berkeley. We had lunch, and from there we kind of just hung out, and I don't remember the rest of the day, but pretty much it was one of the most coolest, most weirdest, good coincidental type of days ever. Like met a friend. He's local. He builds Gundams. It was awesome. So a crew of 2 eventually turned into a threesome. Ah, my foot's asleep. Oh, I hate this. Help. Ah. Alright, so now I gotta sit like this to keep my leg from falling asleep. But anyway, so yeah, hanging out with them for a while, getting to know them more, in a more personal, personal level instead of like Gundam level. Me and Means got closer. You know, Means and Pogs got closer. And then in the month of September, I became a victim of someone who's been playing Grand Theft Auto a little too much. You guys all know what happened. I got ran over. September was a very, very, very deep month for me because I began to question a lot of things. I began to ask a lot of questions about my life. It was a very depressing month because I was bedridden, and it's been almost a year. Tomorrow, September. But and up until now, I still have like dull pains down my ass. So it's like it sucks. But yeah, it was a pretty bad month, but it was a pretty good month because I had a lot to be thankful for. But also, like I said, I was also questioning a lot of things. So it was really depressing because more than half the time I was alone at home and I had to really fend for myself. My sister had work and school. My mom had work. She was pretty much gone the whole day up until like 6 o'clock. So I had to stay at home, be with myself, and take care of myself for the rest of the day for like 2 weeks at least. Until I started to recover a little bit, and I was able to actually drive, even though I wasn't supposed to be. I was actually able to come outside. I needed to be outside because if I stayed in, my mind would have been filled with like dark thoughts and stuff like that. It just would have been all bad. But like I began to question friendships because like a lot of my friends didn't even know what happened to me, even though one of my buddies who was there when it happened, who helped me out, even though he like broadcasted it on Facebook or whatever. Like, um, no one, like, not a lot of people knew where I was, and so um, there was one I don't know if it was because of my mind set at the time, because I was just like not thinking straight. But it was the day that my mom set up her birthday barbecue. This was like the first weekend after I got hit, so it was like she set up her birthday barbecue here at my place. At the same time, it was a chance for everybody to get to see how I was doing and everything, which was a pretty cool day. You know, it was I was happy and sad at the same time, seeing that a lot of people that I didn't get to see throughout the year actually pulled through. Like my uncle, who's almost not at like family functions just because he's the farthest away or because of his schedule or whatever, he showed up. Just people who I did not expect to show up in, Richmond. If you know where I live, it's just like crazy, right? They were able to come out and see me and things like that. I got to see a majority of my cousins who I barely could see. We played Mortal Kombat. The young kids, which I blame myself for being a bad influence here, but the younger kids over here were having fun stabbing each other in the back using Freddy Krueger. If you know his throw move, he like goes shush and then like he stabs you in the back with his claws, and the kids were getting a kick out of that. And I was like, this is probably not a good thing, but at least they're happy. It was one of those things. But it was a really awesome day. But I also knew that there was another birthday party thing, a barbecue going on, not too far from where I lived. Um, and it was bad because I thought that they had forgotten about me or just didn't care to ask or didn't care to come by and visit. Like, the house that they were doing the barbecue at was literally just a couple blocks away from where I lived. And so I felt really bad because, I felt like they didn't care, or they just like forgot, or didn't care to ask. Even though I'm injured, I could still see them, kind of thing. Um, and yeah, it was just like I began to question a lot of things after that. But my buddies Meads and Pogs came through, and this was the time where I was able to drive now. Even they probably didn't know this, but when they came up, they came up and saw me in crutches. They thought that I was crazy to be driving, but I did anyway because they came through. I wanted to get out of the house, and it was an awesome day. It's on one of Mead's videos, one of the hangouts where we were out hanging out, and it was also a day I met Citrus, Marty. Really cool guy. I love the way he talks, man. Like and his reviews, the style of reviews, man, he's really great. But as a guy, he's pretty cool too. Um, so yeah, got to meet another local. It was a pretty awesome day. If it weren't for Meads and Pobs, if it weren't for Meads and Pobs showing up, and I'm only mentioning them because we're on the Gundam subject, but if it weren't for Meads and Pobs, then I probably would be a little bit more depressed than I was. I probably wouldn't care as much about Gundam because, I mean, let's face it, I could not sit down. Like, I had to stay in bed, but that's because I was laying down, but I couldn't sit because it would hurt. I could stand up because it wouldn't hurt to stand up, but I just couldn't move. I wasn't able to move my leg without me moving it my own. So I couldn't really like sit down and focus on building a Gundam without focusing on the pain in my ass. Uh, um, but yeah, like a couple other friends, like friends that weren't that close to me, decided to visit and stuff like that and check up on me, and that felt awesome. But it was one of those where I began to question, like, it was one of those moments where I began to question, like, why is it that the ones closest to you feel more like strangers, but the ones you see as strangers feel the most closest to you, kind of thing. And yeah, I got through that month with flying colors. I recovered faster than I should have, and it was awesome. I kept going out even with my crutches on. I know I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, but I'm not gonna stay at home. What the hell? Um, but yeah, I think it's because of my stubbornness. Because every other day that I got up in the morning, I wanted to walk, and I practiced taking a step, walking without the crutches on, and because of that, I recovered quicker. I recovered in 5 weeks. Doctor said 6 to 8, and I was like, hell no, man! I gotta get back to work. I gotta get back to making money, even though I was enjoying my government money. Um, but yeah. it was cool once I recovered. People who I didn't see were like, "Oh, where were you?" Um, one of the first things I did was I went to hang out and like drank and stuff like that, and like played beer pong or whatever. Half of them knew what happened, and they were happy to see me that I was able to walk. Half of them didn't even know what the hell happened to me. So I was like twisted, but at the same time, no, I'm just gonna enjoy being out with you guys because I haven't seen you guys in a long time. So after that month, I was back. I did not question my friendships anymore. It was just a very depressing month, but also a very developing and like really good month for trying to figure things out. But anyway, the like Gundam. The point of me telling you that was Gundam was there, even if I didn't want it to be, and even if I didn't expect it to be. Um, it was just always there. And then, you know, going down the line, winter built a couple things. Didn't record them on YouTube, but I did build a couple things, and then um, skipping a few details again, I met my girlfriend, my engaged. um, but yeah, she was one of those girls. Like if you look at her, if you first glance at her, you wouldn't think this, but at first glance, you would think, oh, she's a model type. She's a like model type, like friggin' Victoria's Secret model type. Not model kit type. But she's hot, man, and she's you see her and she's like, oh, she looks pretty outgoing. Looks like she likes to have fun, at parties and things like that. She looks like she likes to go out with her friends a lot and stuff and hang out with her girls. And I got to know her, of course, and for 3 4 months, I met her in January. 3 or 4 months, I was just talking to her. She wasn't my girlfriend yet, but I was just talking to her as a friend, and then I got to know her. I got to know her nerdy side, and I was at work, and again, this was at a time where I was kind of getting back into the groove, but I still wasn't making videos. I didn't have too much motivation. I still hung out with Pobs and Needs, um, and it's always a good time with them, and because of them, I'm able to hold on to I guess the passion of modeling, of Gundam modeling, and well, I found out that my girlfriend builds model kits, and probably not as often as some of us do, but more often than I would think. She got into it in high school. Um, yeah, she got into it in high school. I don't know if high school for her was when Wing Gundam was out, or if it was Seed. I don't know, because she's younger than me. Um, but she's been building them since. She buys these things. She would tell me that she would go broke because she would buy clothes, right? Because like I said, if you look at her, she looks like the type that goes out and just shops. Well, she does do that, but there was a time where she said she went broke because of clothes. But then when I found out that she was into Gundam modeling, she finally told me that. She was like, "Oh, remember that time? Blah blah blah." Yeah, I actually bought this stack of boxes, and then she showed me a picture of the stack of boxes of model kits, and I was just like really impressed. I fell in love, and then I asked her to be my girlfriend in probably the most awkwardest ways ever in the history of guys asking a girl out to be their girlfriend history. Um, uh, yeah, and you know, I think if I think she's one of the bigger motivations now, because she just sometimes she just doesn't broadcast it a lot because she until now she still feels awkward about it, and just like me, she never told me about it because she thought that I would think she was awkward, but then when she finally told me that she was bored. Oh, I was at work. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go build my Gundam now," and I'm at work. I'm like, "What? Did you just say Gundam?" And yeah, ever since then, I was kind of like, "Yeah, I need to make this girl mine," and yeah, yeah. So till now, thanks to her, thanks to hanging out with people like Meads and Pobs and the whole Gundam community, especially the Bay Area local Gundam community, being able to hang out with people, knowing that you're not alone in it, um, knowing that people, I skipped something and I'm sorry about that, but basically I was kind of iffy about broadcasting my hobby out to the world. Like coming out of the closet, just coming out to your friends about that, making it public. I didn't get to do that until like recently. Like I just decided one day, just fuck it. I take a picture of one of my SDs and I put it on Facebook, and I was like, get ready for the nerd comments. But nah, man, I got a lot more likes and comments than I thought, and from the people that I at least expected, and it was surprising. So again, it goes. I'm gonna go back to it. It's awesome knowing that there are people out there who actually are willing to understand what you do and to appreciate what you do and look at it as something cool too. Um, and that's one of the other things I think Gundam is. It's an inspiration. Like Gundam's definitely an inspiration. It brings people together. You connect on a whole different level, on a personal level, and it's just good times for everyone. So that's why I see Gundam as more than just a hobby, man. It's an inspiration. It's hope. Like Ed said, like it's hope. Up till now, the other day, my girlfriend was building real grade freedom, and I I I need to get real grade justice now. I was expecting the Mark II to be my first real grade, might still be, but now I just want a real grade justice to go with freedom. I like freedom. I like freedom's design, but I'm happy with the master grade. I'm not a big fan of the justice, but having the real grade justice will be interesting because it's red, it's pink, and I don't have a lot of red and pink in my shelf, so might as well. Um, so yeah, thanks to her, thanks to the people around me for the constant, from when I first started up until now. Thanks to everyone, I'm able to hold on to the hobby, to the passion. Um, it's inspiring to see people around you be into it as much as you, even more than you, and people who are not as into it as you. You can hope to like open up to them and let them open up, and show them the way. So I like to be like the bridge between one land and another, kind of sensei type thing, like be a teacher, be like a mentor, be like, yeah. And I don't know what Gundam will be for me in the future, but over time Gundam has been a lot of things. To me, it's been art. Like right now, it's been art. Like I enjoy posing around and snapping pictures on my model kits just as much as I love building them. So it's art. It's inspiration. Like Ed's story, um, he single-handedly. Well, man, I don't know if single-handedly, but he he broadcasted the word Gundam so much in his high school that by the end of it, and when he put his stuff up on the art show, everyone knew what it was. Everyone knew what Gundam was, and everyone thought it was awesome and cool. And that right there, that's inspiration. Um, and hearing that story, that's inspiring too. So, Gundam, if anything, is definitely to me an inspiration. It's art inspiration. It's a dedication. It's a passion. It's a hobby. But Gundam to me in the future, I don't know what it's gonna be. Like I don't know if it'll be around as much as it is now. I don't know if it'll become stronger. I don't know if it'll die out. Like I don't know that. But if anything, um, whoever whoever decides to keep it going, I look at the YouTube community, and all those times that I was gone from YouTube, it's not like I didn't watch videos at all. I would, and um, every time I see new faces, new reviewers, just new hobbyists, new gunplutters, I would try and imagine like, what if I was completely gone? What if me and Too Old and Robert and Prime and Ed and Henry and all the other big name guys who've been here for the long run? Like, what if one day we were gone? Like, now I see people who can actually like step it up and someone we can hand the torch down to, and that's the one thing I love about this community is that it's constantly growing, and you know, we don't people don't have to rely on, you know, just their favorite person's opinion. Like there are more and more opinions coming out, but at the same time there are more and more criticisms coming out. But you know, at the same time we all gotta like come together and just be stronger and deal with that stuff, you know. So the future, what does Gundam mean to me in the future? It's one of the questions that I've been thinking about. I want Gundam to be a legacy. Like, I know that sounds really cheesy, but I want to be able to like teach my kids, you know, either son or daughter, because girls can get into Gundams too. Uh, I wanna show them what a Gundam model is. I want them to grow up on building Gundam model kits. You know, like I want to pass that on to them, kind of like what Age is trying to do. I guess was their idea to introduce, was their way of introducing the franchise to new fans, and at the same time try to be appealing to older fans. Like I want that to be the future of Gundam. I want Gundam to be a legacy. I just keep on going, just passing it down to the next generation, whatever. Like I really want my kids to enjoy Gundam as much as I did, if not more than I did, or more than I have, more than I do. And just being able to see that happen would be like a really great feeling. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's my story. That's what I think is that's what I know what Gundam is to me. Part of the long ass video. This is probably the longest video response ever. I'm so sorry, guys. But I did say I had a lot to say, and you know I could talk forever. Hope some of you didn't fall asleep. If you did, um, yeah, I guess I'm pretty good at making you fall asleep. So if you did fall asleep, and if you're having a hard time sleeping, just log in, watch this video, and you'll be asleep, like just like that. But anyway, I'm getting hungry. I should be heading out doing my thing. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you guys stuck around, uh, yeah, peace.